Hello students, I welcome you all to my Swayam course titled Comics and Graphic Novels in Indian Context. We are into the final week of this course and today we are going to discuss Apu Pen's graphic novel Moonward. This is lecture 4. Now, Moonward, Apu Pen, first of all, he's a Keralite graphic novelist, giving a brief introduction about how his way of art, his way of sketching, which is very entirely different from all the graphic novels that we have read or analyzed or viewed till the moment. Apu Pen's, if you see any of the graphic novel that is drawn by Apu Pen, the visual illustrations of the graphic novel actually become very difficult to interpret. They not only get very messy, very congested, but it is very difficult. They also, in a way, they tend to become more philosophical in the sense the illustrations themselves become all the more philosophical in order to convey the stark, grim reality of the contemporary world today. Because one of the major themes that Apu Pen time and again experiments with is the rise of cosmopolitan culture, which is very much evident in the post-millennial India as well, how consumerism has taken over almost all the classes, almost all the sections of the society. Even, it was said that, consumerism till early times was something which was only, which only catered to middle class income earners. But today, in today's India, even working class does not even remain untouched by the advent of consumerism, because the rise of mobile phones, smartphones that everybody wants to possess, the demand for data, mobile data that everybody wants to have to create content, to consume content, to produce content, all these kinds of things, to be in the race of becoming popular, to earn fame, to be known, all these things are in a way being mediated through smartphones, through cell phones, in a way that tends to give rise to consumer culture across all sections, across all classes, across all communities that exist in India today. So, as I said, consumerism and cosmopolitanism is one of the emerging themes of Apu Pen's work, and as a result of it, when he sees India, or when he sees the society, contemporary society, being completely subsumed by consumeristic practices and consumeristic interests, he has created an alternative world of Hala Hala, which you can find in almost all the stories of Apu Pen, that Hala Hala is a fictional city, is a dystopian city, which actually emerges as an alternate, or which actually emerges as a resulting practice of this increasing consumerist practices, increasing commercial practices, where people are just very greedy. That is why the people become very merciless. People tend to run after money. It's only property, money, wealth, all these things are only the interest of people remain limited within this purview, and as a result of it, the illustrations also tend to reflect this kind of reality which Apu Pen thematically wants to narrate through the visuals, in the form of visuals, and as a result of it, that his visuals also become very, very complex, very grim, very dirty, that it becomes very difficult for a reader or a person who is going through his graphic novel, or the viewer, to kind of comprehend the meaning behind his graphic novel. Apart from that, another characteristic that is very much emergent from the Apu Pen's graphic novel is his tendency to use very less words. So additionally, apart from whatever the illustrations are, apart from the sketches that he draws of this alternate city of Hala Hala, which are very difficult to infer, which are very difficult to understand, because they tend to take on some post-human, you should as a student, you should once have a look at Apu Pen's work, and then you will be in a better situation to understand what I'm trying to say here, that it is this very ability with very few words and and extremely complicated images that makes Apu Pen's work actually a postmodernist and post-humanist work in the real sense, where meaning is very difficult to understand, and the illustrations, if not illustrations if not read properly, then they can leave the reader completely perplexed and or completely confused. Other features of Apu Pen's work also includes that, due to the rise of capitalism, he shows that the rise of capitalism will actually lead to a very dystopian kind of world where human beings are just, blinded in their competition, in the race of progress, where there is just one intention to defeat another and, try to win that race at the cost of ethics, at the cost of morality. So there is, in Apu Pen's world, morality, ethics, values are all stripped off. So this is what he is actually kind of grieving about. This is actually what he is actually satirically, his works are a satirical comment on such kind of changes, on such kind of shifts that the society is seeing. And as a result of it, what happens is that he turns his world into completely a dystopian world where human values are completely stripped off, and actually a human has become no less than a devil himself. So it's a very devilish world. It's a world where people do not actually find it good enough, or do not find it believable, or do not find it worthy enough to believe in the human qualities. Rather, they find themselves much more comfortable, much more better placed when they are running the race of progress blindly. So, in the introduction, Moonward is a graphic novel which was published in 2009 by Apu Pen. This is a graphic novel that combines science fiction and surrealism to explore themes of isolation, human nature, and the future. Apu Pen is also known for making use of elements from mythology as well as dystopian and futuristic imagery. So, as I said, mythology, mythology has been one of the most popular and prominent themes that have been used. Now we are into the last unit of graphic novels, and all through the units, all through the sections, all through the lectures that we have discussed in this very course, we have found this one thing ultimately, that mythology plays very important role in Indian graphic novels. Because why mythology is chosen by graphic novelists? Time and again, obviously it is much more relatable. People know their stories, and it is through the through the origin of mythological stories they tend to narrate their whatever diverse stories that they want to say. But they know that if they are going to in some way strike some relationality or strike some kind of similarity with the mythological stories, with the mythological narratives, it is going to be very well accepted, it is going to be very well in demand, the graphic novel, because these are the stories which are read almost or known almost by every Indian today. Yes, elements from mythology as well as a dystopian and futuristic imagery. One of the key aspects of Moonward is its visual storytelling. In particular, the use of minimal dialogue and strong illustrations to evoke a range of emotions consisting of despair and hope, while simultaneously addressing some of the existential concerns in the novel. The work, at its best, is a critique of technological advancement and its resulting consequences, making Moonward a significant read in the present times. The artwork. The artwork in Moonward is intricately interwoven with surreal details, combining labyrinth illustrations that trigger desolation and wonder in its reader. It is a captivating book to read. It depicts a ridiculous dystopian future in graphic form. The artwork also makes use of symbolic and abstract imagery that helps convey complex emotions and themes by mainly relying on visual metaphors and the usage of minimal dialogue that draws the reader into an eerie and dystopian world created by the author. So once you will read Moonward, you will find that the atmosphere, the landscape has all become gothic. Gothic, because when I'm saying that he talks about a dystopian world has to have the kind of dystopian world that Apophis is building upon is built of very strange creatures who have no resemblance, who have no similarity to the existing creatures and species of the world today, but they go on to become very horrendous, they go on to become very ugly, oozing out all kinds of giving out all kinds of very dirty and filthy liquids that they are giving out, emerging from their head, emerging from their art. Thus Apophis is trying to in a way communicate it to his readers that this is how capitalism is now, flowing like a liquid in the society, and one day very quickly this liquid is going to take is going to subsume entire earth, and in a way this liquid is going to replace the liquid in the form of water that exists right now. So water is something which is known for giving life. Water is something which is known for sustenance. Water is something which is very important for all the species, for life on earth. But this very water is going to be replaced by some other kind of liquid in the form of capitalism, that these post-human figures, which are drawn in the graphic novel, tend to omit out, tend to extract out from their bodies, thus trying to cover the entire landscape of earth, in a way trying to communicate how capitalism is increasing, thus giving way to consumerist practices, thus giving way to all sorts of commercialization that is happening in the world today. So as a result of commercialization, why commercialization is bad for people who are unaware, commercialization is something that actually strips off any object, any kind of living being or any kind of animate or inanimate objects into a commodity, into a product. You are nothing. Your emotions, your sensitivity, your kind of thoughts are all structured and commodified and sold in a market where human beings, be it human beings or any other kind of product which is now turned into a product only fit for being sold and marketed and consumed in the larger society, in the world today. So the artwork thus employed lets the reader interpret the story on multiple levels. So as I said that the graphic novel tends to invoke all kinds of filthy images, and as a result of it so many metaphors and symbols are used to communicate various life philosophies, most complicated life philosophies, through these dark images, through these filthy images, which are very difficult to infer. And had there been no words, whatever little words are offered as a means of explanation in the graphic novel, had there been no words, it would the work would have been completely something a human being, as if a human being is lost in the space. The work would also, this graphic novel would also have turned in a similar manner, where it is there but then people don't know what to make out of it, or what does it try to communicate, or what is the meaning behind such images. Apophin's surreal, dark, unsettling artwork, his almost copyless storytelling, and his cast of grotesque characters elevate his story into the metaphysical. There is a strong thread of anger at the way greed has raped the earth, at how art is bought and sold, and ultimately how dreams are betrayed. In the constant nightmare that so much of the world has become without fuss. What has distinguished Apophin's work from the other graphic novelists in India, including Sarnath Banerjee, Amrita Patil, Vishwajyoti Ghosh, and other significant graphic novelists, is his investment in the grotesque as an aesthetic and his continuing dystopian vision. So it is just Apophin work. Why I said in the beginning of the lecture that Apophin is completely different from the graphic novelists that we discussed, because of his use of grotesque as well as showcasing the dystopian society. None of the graphic novelists till now have dealt with a dystopian world, creating an alternate or parallel society that exists with the realistic society, or has redrawn human life, the the uglier aspects of human life in such a way as to make them feel very appalling, feel very shocking, that what kind of acts that humanity has engaged themselves with. When the human beings read about themselves in such a way, the reaction is mostly very shocking, as they are brought to realization that it is them who are also doing, or who are also running in the similar race of blind progress. However, the illustration's congestion is where it falls short. Every panel is packed and scratchy, and as one moves from one congested forest to busy, scratchy concrete jungle, the visual sensation of a world changing is lost. The presence of just a few words in largely silent format was a fresh and interesting idea in the realm of Indian graphic novels. I quote, Apu Paine says, "If I didn't use the few words I did in Moonward, I would have to draw out 40 more pages to explain the idea to the people." He knows that, he's using very less word, and he is very much aware of the fact that how complicated his work is for a human understanding, and that is why here or there or wherever there are small usages of speech boxes, they are only given so that the drawings, the illustrations do not tend to take altogether a radical turn which he doesn't even mean to convey, or goes into vacuum somewhere which are unable to convey what he intends to say. So instead, then being typical heroes, the protagonists are characters who fulfill their roles in accordances with their personalities. There is a bracing otherness and brutalism in Apu Paine's art which makes it all the more compelling. Now, the entire story, I'll just give you a brief idea about the story. Moonward, through its narrative, delves into exploring themes of power, greed, and the consequences of human and non-human ambition. The story unfolds in the fantasy world of Hala Hala. Soon the readers see the crash of meteor out of which emerges the beginning of life in the world of Hala Hala. As life evolves, conflicts start brewing between the animals, prompting the wise turtle to introduce the concept of divine being, referred to as a god. The latter's wrath could manifest through earthquakes and volcanic eruptions if the animals do not behave in their right conduct. The deity is represented through an image drawn by turtle on the rock. The dystopian world of love, religion, advertising, and consumerism that he creates through his graphic narrative overturns the traditional notions of faith, love, and religion. The mythical land of Hala Hala feels like a cruel doppelganger of our planet, where humans sometimes coexist and anthropomorphized monsters, where just about everyone is a slave to the Pied Piper of consumerist excess. Apu Paine uses satire as his weapon, focusing more on modern society than on particular targets. Moonward tells the story of Hala Hala, a prehistoric setting teeming with hideous animals, including enormous robotic birds, weeping trees, and tortoises. At the beginning of the novel, the reader witnesses a meteor crash that brought life to the primordial Hala Hala. In the panels that follow, the situations become more complex and undermines the balance of the fictitious world. While Hala Hala is at war, the small and helpless creatures seek assistance from the wise tortoise, who is Turtle, who cuts a new creature's figure on a rock because they are scared of the enormous insect-like monsters. The dawn of the new era turns out to be dystopian, with everyone rushing to gain fame and fortune under the direction of the self-proclaimed deity Anant Banana. The central human character, Anant Banana, or who is also referred as Nana, emerges as a weary wanderer who unknowingly becomes an embodiment of the god talked about in the novel. The animals, believing Nana to be divine, offer their services and sustenance to him. Convinced of his divinity, Nana transforms from an ordinary human figure to something greater, a corporate entity. As Nana's power grows, he is overwhelmed by a surge of pride and hubris. With the rise in his devoted followers, He creates a dystopian world that verily mirrors our contemporary society. He then completes it with robotic birds, weeping trees, and genetically engineered cities. Moonward can be understood as a critique of corporate structures which, in their pursuit of profit, are capable of exploiting and destroying the world. They learn how to become fixated on money, profit, property, and reputation under the braggart's guidance, which makes them egocentric and self-centered. So, in a way, Moonward is also a critique on the way how people tend to function today, as on people who tend to act or perform themselves as godmen and godwomen. This very emergence, the way in which in our society also today, so many speakers are emerging today who say that they are blessed by some sort of divine power, and they become self-proclaimed godmen. This is a very dangerous sign for our society, because these self-proclaimed godmen have the ability to make their followers, to make the people who attend their sermons and lectures to be able to convince them to do certain acts, just as we saw through the example of Baba Ram Rahim, that how his followers, when he was being taken to the court for trial, how his followers tried to stop him, tried to do all sorts of illegal, unlawful activities on the road so that he could not be taken to the court for trial or be sentenced to jail. But this is the power that Apu Paine is criticizing. This is the power that the kind of substitution that religion has taken to, that rather than praying to God, it is just the changed nature of divinity that people tend to find more comfort, and people tend to believe that these godmen are actually in a way blessed by some sort of divine power. So this is a very dangerous sign that Apu Paine is trying to convey, because then all their followers can be convinced. It actually grows in the form of leads to some sort of mad fanaticism. It actually that you can make somebody do, who is following you, you can make somebody do anything that you want them to do, because ultimately they are following you and they have become your fan, or they have become your follower to the extent of the fact that they are even ready to kill in your names without using their brains. So this is a very dangerous sign that Apu Paine is also criticizing through the novel, that how religion in a way is also changing in the contemporary society. Rather than praying to the God, rather than going and visiting the temples, it is the negotiators, it is the mediators whom people find much more believable, and they think whatever they are saying is ultimately going to be right in the end. So, in a way, the graphic novel also shows that religion is being misused by these so-called godmen, by these so-called mediators of religion who tend to associate. And we also have immense examples of such kind of critique existing in the popular culture through the films, where we had this Amir Khan's film as PK, where such kind of godmen were criticized, that it is the absence in the minds of people to be able to judge between religious practices, whether they should be going or directly praying to the God, or whether they should be going to such mediators who can place them in touch with the God, who can make them realize God in their own unique manners. This is the kind of confusion which is going on in the world today. So, the book's reliance on visual storytelling, often eschewing the text for entire pages, fuels the narrative's impact. The illustrations become integral to conveying the novel's thematic concern, with the visual component serving as both a medium for storytelling and a reflection of the dystopian future that the book envisions. Ultimately, Moonward offers a compelling visual and thematic exploration of the dangers inherent in the unchecked consolidation of power and resources. Here, Apu Paine's narratological aim is to show how distorted religion, instead of joining people, divides them, and how it is not for bettering humanity but for battering the same. He protests here against the established religious practices that impose stereotypical prejudices on human beings and reflect sinister influences on the same. So some of the major themes of this graphic novel, as we have discussed through the storyline, includes power and corruption, dystopian futures and corporate control, visual storytelling and allegory, corporate deification, illusion of progress. In conclusion, Moonward critiques the corrupting influence of power, showing how it can transform individuals and societies for the worse. A sense of dehumanization underscoring the darker side of human and corporate ambition. The author's usage of visual storytelling amplifies the narrative's thematic depth, offering a unique and immersive way to explore complex ideas like power, identity, and societal collapse. While Moonward unfolds in a fantastical world, the unsettling depiction of societal and moral decay offers a stark reflection on our world, challenging the idea that technological and corporate progress leads to better future. Thank you.